representing a country that I had loved so much and defended over in Iraq. So things sounds cliche, but in April of 2008, my dream came true. I realized that dreams do come true, and I was able to represent the U.S. in Beijing in the sport of swimming in 2008. And I wish I could show you my gold medal. I wish I could have added that to the accolades of Purple Heart and Bronze Star, but that didn't happen over there. But what did happen was a big testament that a lot of times the journey to get someplace is more important than the medals that come out of it or the actual destination itself. And that journey is one that I look back at fondly and has kind of led me on to do the things I still do today. From Beijing, I became a swimmer turned triathlete and competed in the 2010 Paralympic Paratriathlon World Championships last year. And again, there's all these things that I say that we have these paths that we want to take in our lives, and none of these things would have happened had I not been in that Humvee on April 13, 2004. But now, along with a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart and a 2008 Paralympian, I can add a 2010 World Champion in the sport of paratriathlon. And crossing that finish line on September 11th in Budapest last year, again, carrying that American flag, tears in my eyes, it was for those soldiers that don't come back. That's what I was thinking about, and that's what I wanted to do it for. It's days like today that we sit back and it should be every day. It should be every day of the year where we sit back and we remember those that serve, those that have given the sacrifices, the families and the friends that sit and wait, and those loved ones that don't come back. This morning, a friend sent me an email that, in my mind, really defined what a veteran is, and I want to read it to you just because it really kind of hit home with me. It says, a veteran is an ordinary and an extraordinary human being, a person who offered some of their lives' most vital years in the service of their country and who sacrificed their ambitions so others would not have to sacrifice theirs. A soldier is the finest, greatest testimony on behalf of the finest, greatest nation ever known. So remember, every time you see someone who has served our country, lean over and say thank you. And in most cases, it'll mean more than any medals that they were ever awarded. I also saw this kind of cartoon clip, and what it has on there is it has a father and his son, and the father is pointing to the son, or the father is pointing to the grave, and he says to his son, "This is a real American Idol." So on today, on Memorial Day, and from one veteran to another, all of you American Idols out there, I want to say thank you. Thank you for our freedoms. Thank you for keeping us safe. Thank you for having pride and believing in that flag right there. And happy Memorial Day, and God bless America. Thank you.
Through and tell you about the three different veterans from Eden Prairie that are being honored today. And you probably wonder why these three. Well, we look for some type of Eden Prairie connection. They can be born here, they can be raised here, they can work in Eden Prairie, just having some type of Eden Prairie connection. In your program, you're going to see a nomination form. In this last year, we received 10 nominations, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have 3 or 4 times that of people that are just here in the crowd. And of course, nobody's going to put themselves in, but family members, take the time to fill that form out, send it to us. You can send an email, you can mail it. Just give us a few words, send us an email and tell us why it is you feel that the veteran sitting by you or the one that is related to you, it should be honored out here today. We tell these 3 stories, but these aren't the only 3 stories, and there's a lot of names on the wall whose story we might just only know a name to it, but other ones will have more of that. The next veteran that I'm going to tell you about is William Charles Schwartz. We know him as Bud Schwartz. In 1843, 3 days after high school, Schwartz was drafted into the U.S. Army. He joined the war efforts in World War II, and the kid from Detroit spent the next 17 weeks at Fort Riley, Kansas. It was boot camp, then off to cavalry horse riding training. His official title was construction foreman. However, he recalled most of his duties involving infantry and reconnaissance. Schwartz was sent to the European front with the 36 combat engineers. He did a short tour with another group before he met up with the 36. The 36 had already completed 4 major invasions of the war. The 36 earned the nickname from the German army as the Little Seahorse Division after holding 7 miles of the front line during the invasion of Anzio, Italy. Schwartz joined the group as a replacement prior to the 5th and final amphibious assault with the invasion of southern France in 1944, codenamed Operation Dragoon. By this time, the 36 had been completely replenished 3 times with replacements like Schwartz. Their invasion on southern France was H-hour minus 6 minutes, meaning 6 minutes before the first wave hit, landing on August 15, 1944 in an LCI boat on southern France. The Dragoon Force met up with the thrust from Operation Overlord, which is more affectionately known as Normandy Invasion, in September near Dijon, France. The 36 Combat Engineers supported Allied units through 3 additional campaigns until the end of the war. They were fed sea rations, which were sold. They were packaged during World War I and had the date stamp of 1918. At times, the combat engineers relieved infantry units for 2 or 3 weeks rotations as they pushed the Germans back. Bud remembers spending 37 days straight in a foxhole with his comrades. When Christmas arrived in 1844, Schwartz and the 36 stopped for midnight mass. Even though he was not Catholic, Bud found some peace in joining the rest inside a small church in a French village. There was one close call that Bud will never forget. He was assigned at the end of a line of troops and just moved out of that position, and the person who took his position was hit by a mortar shell that fell from the sky. The soldier was wounded so bad that they evac'd him and moved into a house. They found a bed spring inside this house. They fashioned it as a stretcher. They put the man on the stretcher, and they carried him for 4 hours through the night back to their headquarters and turned him over to the medics. After crossing the Rhine River, they moved into Heidelberg, Germany. German troops were surrendered by the company. World War II had finally ended and the troops were being sent home in stages. However, Schwartz had not earned enough points to return home right away, so he was assigned to an army baseball team where they traveled to Europe entertaining crowds. He finally left Europe on board a ship that had 12 troops packed to each stateroom, and they landed in New York Harbor, and they were greeted only by a Red Cross worker. There's no parades, anything thanking them. He was handed a donut and a half a pint of milk and told to move along and out to waiting army trucks. In 1943, Bud Schwartz began his new life in Eden Prairie with his wife Dorothy. They raised 3 children on a modest life of an electrician. Bud later joined the VFW in Hopkins, becoming a life member, and he's also become a member, one of the founding members of our Veterans Memorial Committee, working so hard to build this memorial. In 2007, Bud raised the first flag at our first flag raising on Veterans Day, and to a large crowd. In 2008, Bud was humbled to participate in an honor flight back to Washington, D.C. And anybody that doesn't know anything about honor flights, they load up veterans from World War II, they fly them from Minneapolis or other cities, they fly to Washington, D.C. under police escort and then return back home all on the same day. For his service, Bud was awarded the Good Conduct Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, the Army of Occupation Medal, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, with 4 bronze battle stars and 1 bronze arrowhead. And the arrowhead indicates a beach invasion, and the World War II lapel pin. Bud Schwartz truly is what makes up the greatest generation.
Good morning, happy Memorial Day. I'm Sergeant Nicholas Eichman, member of Bravo Company, one of the 194 Minnesota National Guard. Today I'm here to honor Lance Corporal Daniel Olsen, who gave the ultimate sacrifice defending our freedom. Daniel grew up in Egan with his father Wayne, mother Gwen, and sisters Chelsea and Shiana. Daniel was born in Eden Prairie and later attended Egan schools while growing up. In ways, Daniel can be described as a quiet, reserved, and sensitive person. Daniel would frequently volunteer his time to assist with Sunday school at Wooddale Church with his older sister. What's more, the children within the program absolutely adored him, especially 2 children whom he visited outside of church. Interestingly, his additional acts of kindness weren't known by his parents till after his death. Nonetheless, he also loved to show up at his sister's sporting events, supporting them whenever he could. Daniel Olsen was a true contributor who looked for nothing in return. Daniel enjoyed being a typical teenager. He and his close friends would go to the mall, listen to rock music, play sports and video games. He was also involved in drumline, playing a wide variety of percussion instruments. While in the band's drumline, Daniel helped win the state championship. Furthermore, being committed to children, Daniel loved his job at Camp Snoopy, where he worked from age 16 until he departed for the Marines and his new way of life. Daniel Olsen was not a person who desired to be in the spotlight. To illustrate, he graduated early from high school, but would purposely fail academic tests so he would not be placed in accelerated programs. He would have preferred to merge into a crowd than stand out and be placed on a pedestal. Chances are he would not be thrilled with this honor. He would probably suggest this is too much and others are more deserving. That is not the case. He is a true hero that should never be forgotten. When he was 17, Daniel wanted to sign into the Army and become an Army Ranger. However, his parents did not want him to make any rash decisions and suggested he wait until he was 18, though the Army would have been more than happy to have him. His father offered to pay for his college tuition, but on his 18th birthday, Daniel signed up for the Marine Corps. He felt as though both the military and the Marine Corps would be a great match for him. Seeing his father and grandfather served in the Navy, perhaps it was their service which guided him towards the Marine Corps. His parents supported his decision, even though they had fears, like all parents must when their sons or daughters choose military service. He left for boot camp in September of 2005 and graduated in December. After completing 2 months of infantry training, he linked up with his new unit and brothers at 29 Palms in California. After entering the Marine Corps, Daniel found a great fit where he could be part of something big while still being able to disappear when he wanted. Growing up with 2 sisters, he welcomed the camaraderie and brotherhood of the Marines. Daniel also had special ability. He was able to memorize numbers at a single glance, such as weapon serial numbers, which he memorized his whole platoon, 30 or more. Just take it from me, I can't remember mine, have to write it down in a notepad, it just doesn't work. On January 29, 2007, Daniel's unit, 2nd Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division, deployed to Iraq, and Daniel was based in the violent Anbar province near Fallujah. Daniel's unit mission was to take command, control, and protect a critical passageway to Fallujah, a passage of which enemy combatants had control of. Therefore, Daniel's unit trained and assisted the police department, of which only consisted of 15 officers, to protect the area. During his deployments, he was tired but positive and upbeat. He had full confidence in his unit. Daniel was a saw gunner during his 8 weeks in Iraq, protecting everything from his brothers in the Marines to civilians who were lost in the chaos of war. On April 2nd, 2007, while on a routine mission, Daniel was fatally shot in the back by an enemy sniper. Although Daniel's unit was able to reclaim the city and return order during their tour, members of his unit remember him as a sweet, kind, and all heart. He proved to be the same man in the Marine Corps that he was back home in Minnesota. Needless to say, Daniel was someone who you could count on to do the right thing at all costs. Daniel's commander said that Daniel was at the forefront of every mission he was assigned, and already demonstrated proven courage under fire. His amazing, near photographic memory was a regular asset to his squad. Today, we recognize Lance Corporal Daniel Olsen and all veterans, not only for what they've done in combat, but for who they were and what they mean to the people that surround them. Thank you. God bless.
My name is Katie Fisher, and I'm a teacher and a former coach here in Eden Prairie. And I first had the opportunity to meet Melissa Stockwell when I coached her during her senior year of gymnastics. Melissa was a 3-sport athlete in high school, excelling in diving, gymnastics, and track. She earned numerous all-conference, all-state, and all-American awards and served as a captain for her teammates. Melissa was an incredible leader in gymnastics, suffering through a serious ankle injury in her senior year, but continuing to support and encourage her team while she recovered. She came to the gym every day and would ice her foot and do her exercises, cheering on her teammates and showing her commitment even when she was hurt. She was able to compete by the end of the year and finish that season as an inspiration to all of us. As coaches, we knew that Melissa would go on to do great things in life. She was always so determined, such a fighter, and she always found a way to see the best in every situation. Melissa graduated from Eden Prairie and went on to the University of Colorado, where she entered the ROTC program. She was commissioned as an Army officer in May of 2002, and in March of 2004 she deployed to Iraq. After just a few weeks of being there, her vehicle was struck by a roadside bomb. As a result, Melissa lost her left leg above the knee. After rehab at Walter Reed, she went on to begin competing in swimming, and she even represented the United States at the 2008 Paralympics in Beijing. Melissa now competes in the sport of triathlon, and in 2010 she became a world champion for para-triathletes, and she continues to compete internationally in numerous events. Melissa now travels the world helping people who are experiencing what she has been through. She encourages and supports soldiers by talking with them and sharing her story, and helping them through their difficult rehabilitation. She touches the lives of so many through her words and her actions, and inspires not only those who have been injured, but all of us who love sports in this great country. In her everyday life, Melissa continues to show us firsthand that no dream is too big for any of us to dream, that determination and hard work can take you anywhere you want to go, and finally, there are no obstacles too great for us to overcome. It is my pleasure to honor Melissa Stockwell today.
What a beautiful day it's turned out to be. We're going to unveil what's called a field cross, and Neil Broden from Broden Studios, he's very humble, so he wants us in the back, but I am going to point him out. Neil, would you at least just lift your hat up? Raise your hand. There you go. Neil is a retired Minneapolis police officer. He runs Broden Studios. He is the artist that created these sculptures behind us for our initial opening, and now we're adding a piece on here called the field cross. The field cross is to signify, I'm going to explain a little bit, the field cross will signify where a soldier dies on a battlefield. Initially during the battle, they'll spike a rifle into the ground to mark where they have to do a quick burial until they can go back and treat that properly. Then it's also customary to arrange the boots, rifle, and helmet. The surviving members of the squad will gather around and memorialize their fallen comrade. Some of the troops will pray, others might recall personal stories, and every service member knows the next ceremony might be for them. This arrangement is known as a battlefield cross or the field cross. And so we've got some members of our committee that are going to move forward and unveil it. You can see it's covered up with the camouflage tarp there. Bob Grant, Richard Fay, Jim Moran. Whenever you're ready. Richard Fay in the white shirt there is what's called a Gold Star father. It's that his son Tyler was killed in Iraq. All three of these gentlemen. Now the Eden Prairie High School Wind Ensemble.